428 Shibuya Scramble was originally a Wii and PS3 game that came out in 2008. Now, I first got a Wii in 2008, and like any good console owner, I looked at the list of everything that was released and soon to come out. So this game caught my interest 10 years ago, and I've been waiting for an English translation ever since. I was even hoping for fan translations and things like that, and eventually I gave up hope. And now, 10 years later, it finally has a translation on PS4 and PC, and I was not disappointed. It did have an anime sequel in Kanon in 2009, which spoils this to death in hindsight, but if you haven't seen it or don't remember a somewhat obscure anime show from 10 years ago, don't watch it, and you might not remember the important things. I definitely didn't. This is sort of a live-action visual novel. And if you don't know what a visual novel is, it's just text, characters, music, and occasionally animation of some kind, and you read the story and make choices, kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure. Though oddly enough in this, there's barely any actual video, maybe 3 seconds every 3 hours, so it's more of a photo-visual novel. It's set in Shibuya, an iconic location in Tokyo that you've probably seen in anime a million times. It's sort of the Tokyo equivalent to Times Square. I think the game itself is sort of Japan's answer to 24. Japan really likes 24 for some reason. Japanese commercials are always worth watching. So events always play out in real time. The plot starts with one bad thing happening and keeps escalating. The threats get higher and higher, and geopolitical intrigue gets involved. You never trust any of the characters. There's always more fake identities. Just trust me, I can't explain because of reasons. And double-crossing goes on more than a spy convention. It starts with a case of mistaken identity over a kidnapping, and by the end, they're looking at a potentially world-ending disaster. The plot here is really solid. That said, there are some gag characters, a bumbling get-rich-quick schemer, an old man and his kid, and a girl trapped in a cat suit. Not that kind. And they kind of turn what is a really serious plot into something that's uniquely Japanese. I think it's intended as a bit of a comic relief or a tension breaker, but maybe not, because they get less and less airtime as the plot ticks on and characters and the plot get more serious. So it's a bit weird. I'm not sure about it. It doesn't fit, really. The gameplay is very unique. You start off with 5 characters that you can switch between at any time. Like in most visual novels, you make choices that determine how the plot goes. Unlike most, your choices impact the other characters for better or worse. With over 100 endings, most of them bad, it's usually worse. You can play a character's path until the hour ends in to be continued, or it's blocked by a keep out. To get past a keep out, you need another character's help using a jump, which is basically just them making all the right choices and then thinking of the character. Sometimes just as in, oh, that character exists, and sometimes, oh, that character could help us, I wonder what he's doing now. And then the keep out is unlocked. This way, you use all 5 characters to sort of solve each hour until the end. It's a bit of a puzzle sometimes. The problem here is that all of the characters are part of the plot, right at the beginning, so there's a reason for them to be playable. One of them, however, is a reporter, and you spend most of the time as him trying to get stories for a failing paper before the deadline. Whenever I see him in the menu, I just prepare to get bored, even if it wasn't bad necessarily, just completely, utterly irrelevant. Here's this intense story going on in the background, and I'm forced to listen about the inner monologue about deadlines. I'm pretty sure the only reason he's in the game is to make choices that send people in the other direction so that the other characters get out of trouble. Anyway, like with any good visual novel, there's a few secret endings. One's a gag ending, one's the true ending, one's a prelude to the canon anime, and her little backstory arc is easily the best hour or two of the game. It's done in anime style, with credit to Type Moon, who made Fate Stay Night, Tsukihime, and Melty Blood. In fact, Kanan's character select avatar looks like a Melty Blood character. I'm not showing any of her arc because of huge spoilers, but I'll leave it at it's good, and it has all the energetic shootout action that the main game doesn't. In conclusion, highly recommended, definitely in my top 5 visual novels of all time, and that's really saying something. If you've never played one before, this might not be the best start, just because of all the weird mechanics that you have to deal with, and sometimes, especially late in the game, it can be a bit difficult to figure out what you're supposed to do to get to the right ending. I even had to resort to a walkthrough at the final stages of the game, so I'd say the story is for everybody, but the way the game is played might not be. But if you are a seasoned veteran of visual novels, don't pass this up. It's definitely a top tier. Well, I hope this was informational at least a little bit. Leave a like and share with your friends if this was informational or if you know somebody who might like it. And subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.